Let me briefly explain what cognitive therapy is. A cognition is a thought or perception. In other words, your cognitions are the way you are thinking about things at any moment, including this very moment. These thoughts scroll across your mind automatically and often have a huge impact on how you feel. Your feelings result from the messages you give yourself. In fact, your thoughts often have much more to do with how you feel than what is actually happening in your life. This isn't a new idea.
64,000 is the median number of words per book. Average person reads about 200 words per minute. Simple math will tell us that is one book in 320 minutes. To accomplish this in 7 days, numbers say you would have to read for 45 minutes a day. Don't forget to subscribe. Hit that notification button, like, comment, and share. Enjoy.
Welcome to the Book of the Week series. Every week as I read another amazing title, I share it with the world. My name is Igor S.F. Walker. Today, we look at Feeling Good, the new mood therapy by David D. Burns. So how about you slow down and relax, reduce all that noise for just a bit, make that choice, and decide to listen. In this video, we look at cognitive therapy. We rediscover and we are reminded of the connection between your thoughts and your emotions and how this makes you feel. Remember, it is your thoughts that will trigger your feelings. Stick around till the end. I will share with you some tools I do have and use that will help you tremendously in this game of life. Discover a way to find out what actually motivates you, what innate human need is driving all of your decisions and your behavior. I will share some tools to improve your self-awareness, social awareness, self-management, and relationship management. After all, there is little we can do the way people drive at rush hour, or the way we were treated when we were young, or our genes, or body chemistry. In contrast, we can learn the way we think about things. And you can also change your basic values and your beliefs. And when you do, you will often experience profound and lasting changes to your mood, to your outlook, and to your productivity. That, in a nutshell, is what cognitive therapy is all about. Recent studies indicate that psychotherapy can be helpful not only for mild depression, but also for severe depression as well. These findings are at odds with the popular belief that talking therapy can only help people with mild problems, and that if you do have serious depression, you need to be treated with drugs. Now, one important discovery is that self-help seems to be a key to recovery, whether or not you did receive treatment. Some patients with more severe or chronic depression will need the help of a therapist and possibly an antidepressant medication as well. Now, this is nothing to be ashamed of. Different individuals respond better to different approaches. It is a good thing that we now have 3 types of effective treatment for depression: antidepressant medications, individual and group psychotherapy, and bibliotherapy. Depression is one of the worst forms of suffering because of the immense feeling of shame, worthlessness, hopelessness, and demoralization. Depression can seem worse than terminal cancer because most cancer patients do feel love and they do have help and self-esteem. Many depressed patients, in fact, said they yearned for death and prayed every night that they would get cancer so that they could die in dignity without having to commit suicide. But sooner or later, the clouds have a way of blowing away and the sky suddenly clears and the sun begins to shine again. When this happens, the feeling of relief and joy can be overwhelming. And if you are now struggling with depression and low self-esteem, I believe this transformation can happen for you as well. No matter how discouraged or depressed you may feel. Depression has been called the world's #1 public health problem. Depression can kill you. The first principle of cognitive therapy is that all your moods are created by your cognitions or your thoughts. A cognition refers to the way you look at things, your perceptions, your mental attitudes, and your beliefs. It includes the way you interpret things, what you say about something or someone to yourself. You feel the way you do right now because of the thoughts you are thinking at this very moment. The second principle is that when you are feeling depressed, your thoughts are dominated by a pervasive negativity. What's even worse is that you will come to believe that things really are as bad as you imagine them to be. Now, this feeling is absolutely logical, but it seems so real that you have convinced yourself that your inadequacy will go on forever. The third principle is of substantial philosophical and therapeutic importance. The negative thoughts, which cause your emotional turmoil, nearly always contain gross distortions. Now, part of being human means getting upset from time to time, so I can guarantee you will not achieve a state of never-ending bliss. This means you will have to reapply the techniques that do help you if you want to continue to master your moods. There is a difference between feeling better, which can occur spontaneously, and getting better, which results from systematically applying and reapplying the methods that will lift your mood whenever the need arises. Depression is not an emotional disorder at all. The sudden change in the way you feel is of no more casual irrelevance than a runny nose is when you do have a cold. Every bad feeling you do have is the result of your distorted negative thinking. Illogical, pessimistic attitudes play the central role in the development and in continuation of all of your symptoms. Intense negative thinking always accompanies a depressive episode, or any painful emotion for that matter. Your negative thoughts or your cognitions are the most frequently overlooked symptoms of your depression. These cognitions contain the key to relief and therefore are most important symptoms. Every time you feel depressed about something, try to identify a corresponding negative thought you had just prior to and into the depression, because these thoughts have actually created your bad mood. Now, by learning to restructure them, you can change your mood. So, cognitive distortions, all or nothing thinking, forms the basis for perfectionism. It causes you to fear any mistake or any imperfection, because you will then see yourself as a complete loser and you feel inadequate and worthless. Overgeneralization. You arbitrarily conclude that one thing that happened to you once will occur over and over and over again. The pain of rejection is generated almost entirely from overgeneralization. Mental filter. When you are depressed, you wear a pair of eyeglasses with a special lens that filters out anything positive. All that you allow to enter your conscious mind is negative. because you're not aware of this filtering process, you conclude that everything is negative. The technical name for this process is selective abstraction. It is that habit that can cause you to suffer much needless anguish. Now, disqualifying the positive. Disqualifying the positive is one of the most destructive forms of cognitive distortion, jumping to conclusions, magnification, and minimization. Emotional reasoning, should statements. See, these statements cause you to feel pressure and feel resentful. Paradoxically, you end up feeling apathetic and unmotivated. Labeling and mislabeling, personalization, causes you to feel crippling gift. You suffer from a paralyzing and burdensome sense of responsibility that forces you to carry the whole world on your shoulders. Your thoughts create your emotions. Therefore, your emotions cannot prove that your thoughts are accurate. The great majority of depressed individuals are, in fact, very much loved. But it doesn't help one bit, because self-love and self-esteem are missing. At the bottom line, only your own sense of self-worth determines how you feel. So train yourself to recognize and write down the self-critical thoughts as they do go through your mind. Learn why these thoughts are distorted. Practice talking back to them so as to develop a more realistic self-evaluation system. One of the most destructive aspects of depression is the way it paralyzes your willpower. In its mildest form, you may simply procrastinate about doing a few audacious chores. As your lack of motivation intensifies, virtually any activity appears so difficult that you become overwhelmed by the urge to do nothing. Do-nothingism represents one of the great paradoxes of human nature. You are learning that the cause of your sense of worthlessness is your ongoing self-criticism. This takes the form of an upsetting international conversation in which you constantly harass, arrange, and persecute yourself in harsh, unrealistic manner. Why is criticism so hurtful to some people while others can remain unperturbed in the face of the most abusive attacks? When another person criticizes you, certain negative thoughts are automatically triggered in your head. Your emotional reaction will be created by these thoughts and not by what the other person says. The first step in overcoming your fear of criticism concerns your own mental processes. Learn to identify the negative thoughts you do have when you are being criticized. Write them down. This will enable you to analyze your thoughts and recognize where your thinking is illogical or simply wrong. To put it succinctly, if people criticize you, the comments they make will be either right or wrong. If the comments are wrong, there's really nothing for you to be upset about. The crux of the matter is that only your thoughts can upset you. And you learn to think more realistically, you will feel less upset. Step 1, empathy. Step 2, disarming the critic. If someone is shooting at you, you have these 3 choices. You can stand and shoot back. This usually leads to warfare and mutual destruction. You can run away or try to dodge the bullets. This often results in humiliation and a loss of self-esteem. Or you can stay put and skillfully disarm your opponent. Number 1, find some way to agree with whatever they say. Number 2, avoid sarcasm or defensiveness. And number 3, always speak the truth. Finally, you get to the final step, feedback and negotiations. Once you have listened to your critic using the empathy method and disarmed them by finding some way to agree with him or her, you will be then in position to explain your position and your emotions assertively and negotiate any real differences. What is your IQ? And I'm not interested in knowing how smart you are, because your intelligence has little, if anything, to do with your capacity for happiness. What I do want to know is, what is your irritability quotient? IQ, irritability quotient. So let's review some methods that will allow you to rid yourself of inappropriate guilt feelings and maximize your self-respect. Daily record of dysfunctional thoughts. Should removal techniques. Learn to stick to your guns. Empty whiner technique. Movie moaner method. Find a way to agree with what the person is saying and then to distract the moaner by finding something positive in the complaint and then commenting on it. Example, moaner. What in the world can I ever do about my daughter? I'm afraid she's been smoking pot again. Response, there sure is a lot of pot going on around these days. Is your daughter still doing that outstanding artwork? I heard she recently got a very important award. Developing perspective. As an analogy, imagine that you are hiking and you come to a river. Now you really need to get to the other side, but the water is too deep. Furthermore, there is no bridge and it's too far to jump. How do you get to the other side? You might need a canoe, or you might need to swim for it. Nerves face a similar problem because their electrical impulses are too weak to jump across synapses. The nerves send little swimmers across with their messages. Now these little swimmers are chemicals called neurotransmitters. Once released, these chemical messengers migrate or swim through a process called diffusion across the fluid-filled centers. Synapses. At the other side of the synapses are molecules, and they become attached to the receptors on the surface of the postsynaptic nerve. This signal tells the postsynaptic nerve to fire. Different kinds of nerves use different kinds of neurotransmitters. See, the split between the mind, psychological, and body, biological school is sharp, and the dialogue between them is often intense, combative, and bitter. Political and financial considerations sometimes seem to influence the tone of these discussions more than scientific findings. All or nothing thinking, you think of yourself as a completely happy or completely depressed. Shades of gray do not apply, so if you're not completely happy or completely recovered, you assume you are completely depressed and hopeless. Overgeneralization. You see your current feelings of depression as a never-ending pattern of defeat and suffering. Mental filter. You selectively think of all the times you have been depressed and then end up thinking your whole life will be bad forever. Discounting the positive, you insist that the times you were not depressed do not count. Should statements. You use up all your energy. You shouldn't be depressed, or you shouldn't have gotten depressed again, instead of systematically working to overcome the feelings. And labeling, you tell yourself you are hopelessly and irreversibly defective and conclude that you could never really feel whole or happy or worthwhile. Patients who feel hopeless, usually they cannot see that they are deceiving themselves. They are nearly always convinced these feelings are entirely valid. If I can persuade them to challenge these hopeless feelings and get better, even though they feel in their hearts that this is impossible, they usually do begin to improve, slowly at first, and then more rapidly, until they feel a whole lot better. One of the most important tasks of any therapist is to help depressed patients find the courage and find the determination to resist and fight these hopeless feelings. Now, this battle is often fierce and rarely easy, but nearly always rewarding in the long run. And there you have it. Feeling good, the new mood therapy. Now, please help out. It is easy. Simply like this video, and so more people can enjoy it. Share it too. Leave a comment and share your thoughts. Do subscribe to my channel and stay up to date. And the link to this book is in the description below. So buy it, read, never stop learning, especially learning about yourself and nature. So gift yourself by taking the free human needs test on my website and find out what actually motivates you. What innate human need is driving all of your decisions and your behavior. And if you feel you are ready to improve your self-awareness, social awareness, self-management, and relationship management even further, then do check out my Master of Life Awareness program. The links are in the description below. Thank you. Love and respect.